release forces. He just seems to send really small task forces to take down Bisu's expansion, to slow down his mining. Hwaisin just not having, but now finally he's going to have the resources to be able to produce from those factories now that he's got that command center down. And it's just really, it's one of those things like that classic episode of Star Trek where you had a Klingon battlecruiser and a Romulan warbird both disabled, and it was just a race to see who could get their weapons up in time to finish the opponent. And that's what it's like. Bisu has the army but not the resources. Hwaisin had the army but not the resources. Bisu had the resources but not the army, and it's just a question of whether Hwaisin can get enough resources to replenish his army, to reinforce his army and to take the attack to Bisu, or whether Bisu can get enough army out to reinforce his forces in time to finish Hwaisin off before he can recover. And it's just a race against time for both of these guys. Hwaisin now with a couple of Goliaths focusing those Dragoons down behind his just on that ramp at the 12 o'clock position to try and re-secure that place. Bisu loses one of the Dragoons and D-Matrix, and Bisu forced to use a recall of forces into that expansion to make sure that he secures that 10 o'clock expansion, otherwise he would have lost it to Hwaisin. Hwaisin is going to lose EMP on all those goons. Hwaisin has used that EMP to deadly effect throughout this game, even though he allowed Bisu free reign with the Arbiters early on. Once he got those science vessels out, he really has been very effective with that EMP, managing to land another one. Meanwhile, Hwaisin has got that starport with controller. Looks like he's ready to produce another dropship, and he has meanwhile managed to take another expansion just west of the 3 o'clock position in the middle, I suppose, right-hand side of the map, right in the middle right-hand side of the map, and he's now got 2 expansions up and running, so his economy is going to be in good shape, and he does have forces in range to defend those. Bisu unable to really take them down, and already forced to use a recall to defend that expansion at the 10 o'clock base, where Hwaisin was looking to pressure with the 2 Goliaths behind the mineral line. But Bisu really needs to do something here. I guess he's just hoping that he can build up enough units, but Hwaisin has got so many siege tanks that I'm not sure Bisu can get enough forces in time, and now Hwaisin's got vultures out as well, putting spider mines down tactically in anticipation of a recall from Bisu into his main. Bisu with a photon cannon down, securing that expansion at the just north of the 6 o'clock position, and Hwaisin's production looks like it's now once again kicking into gear. The factories are now pumping, the forges are running, the metal is burning, and metal is being cast and molded into Terran armor, into Terran Goliath, into Terran vultures, and Bisu needs to do something here. He's going to go down to a famous victory to Hwaisin. Bisu now coming in with actually forced to use Arbiters to freeze SCVs. That is a sign of desperation, where he's forced to expend Arbiter energy to freeze. Hwaisin bringing the science vessel out, but not in time. The Arbiter manages to cast the freeze and get away, but that's surely not a great use of Arbiter energy. I guess he's just trying to slow down. I guess Bisu knows that there is going to be an inevitable confrontation between his forces and Hwaisin's, and he's just trying to make sure that he has more army than Hwaisin does when it does happen. But it just doesn't seem to me like he's going to win this race. It seems to me like Hwaisin is slowly but surely edging forward here and is going to come out on top in the end. Hwaisin now has got those vultures and Goliath. He can once again go roaming around the map. Bisu trying to retake that expansion at the 9 o'clock expo, and it's just a race for minerals here. And Hwaisin with a large group of vultures now out, and I really feel that Bisu is going to be in trouble now once Hwaisin gets his army and playing Hwaisin, and that is surely a sign that Hwaisin is ready to roll, unsieging the tanks. He's amassed that army, he's ready to move forward. Observer going to get taken down by that Goliath. Bisu manages to run away from those Goliaths, just get out of range with that Observer in time. But once again, the Terran war machine is mobile, is moving, is scouring the landscape, and there is not much the Protoss defenders can do against it. Hwaisin, Bisu's just got to hope for some distraction tactics here, going for a recall. Great play by Bisu, that's all he could do, recalling at that expansion. Hwaisin really forced Bisu's hands there. I'm sure Bisu didn't want to use that recall there at that point in time, at that expansion, but he's going to be able to take that expansion down just south of the 6 o'clock main, waiting for Bisu to move his forces away before he took it down. But Hwaisin willing to sacrifice that expansion while he still has another expansion running at the just west of the 3 o'clock position. Now Hwaisin is heading into Bisu's main mining expansion at that 9 o'clock base, and once he takes that down, the 10 o'clock base becomes vulnerable as well, and Hwaisin doesn't really mind because he knows that he's got such a large army. Bisu now coming in with the Arbiters. Is he going to get a freeze off? EMP goes, no EMP in time. He managed to freeze about 5 tanks, but there's just so many siege tanks still there, and Bisu just doesn't have enough ground forces. Bisu, even though he's got to surround Hwaisin's forces from all 3 directions, is coming in with the Dragoons and the Zealots as well, but he just isn't able to get in, and Hwaisin has got enough forces and numbers to be able to take down, and Bisu loses all of his forces. He's lost all his army there, and I don't really think he killed anything of Hwaisin's. I think he might have killed a siege tank and a vulture, and even though he took out that expansion, he's not aware. I'm not sure if he scouted that expansion just west of the 3 o'clock position in the middle right hand side of the map, and now Bisu's going to lose that 9 o'clock expansion, probably also lose the 10 o'clock expansion, and this is going to be another famous victory, it looks like, for Hwaisin this time around. we saw a great matchup between Bisu and Jaedong last week, and Bisu matches seem to be the one to watch, folks, in the Pro League. They produced great StarCraft for one reason or other. Now Bisu with the lone DT really forced to economize his forces to maximum effect, and that lone DT managed to take out 2 siege tanks, 3 siege tanks taken out by a single Dark Templar. That was a suicide jihad mission if I ever saw one by Bisu, but unfortunately I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to bring him back into his game, because Hwaisin is just going to be able to tear through his economy, and Bisu just doesn't have the forces left to defend. And once again, the camera focusing dramatically on Bisu. He's got his last bastion of hope at that expansion at the 10 o'clock base. Now Hwaisin coming in with the vultures. I guess he could come in a little bit slower because those dragoons are going to be effective with the help of that arbiter support. Bisu does have the science vessels hovering over as well, and those vultures. Bisu now just with the 2 dragoons left. Hwaisin's going to just come in, roll in with the siege tanks and probably finish that off. Hwaisin not able to come in. Maybe that gap isn't big enough. I'm not that familiar with this map, but Bisu's defense holds for now. He also managed to kill a science vessel, and that is why Hwaisin could not get further reinforcements through. Great arbiter freeze on that ramp leading into that 10 o'clock expansion. Meanwhile, Bisu with a recall into that expansion just west of the 3 o'clock position, getting the dragoons in there and taking on all the defensive forces there. And now those SCVs are exposed. Hwaisin coming in with some straggling dragoons, but they're not really going to be enough to take down Bisu's forces. Bisu sending in reinforcements of zealots as well. Can Bisu swing this match around at the 11th hour? Spider-Mine drag, taking out some zealots, but not enough. And Bisu's got massive zealots, and Hwaisin needs to keep these SCVs alive. He's going to be forced to run those SCVs away, and he's possibly going to lose that expansion as well. Bisu is doing a great job of fighting with small numbers of units, and Bisu really buying himself some time. He's using all the tricks that are at the Protoss' disposal, but Hwaisin's still overpowering. Hwaisin now has got the units in play to take that expansion out of the 10 o'clock position, and I believe that's Bisu's last expansion that's still mining. I'm not sure if the expansion of the 7 o'clock position is still mining, and it is. I don't think it is. The expansion of the 10 o'clock position goes down. Bisu's managed to rescue most of his units though, but they do seem to be trapped. Meanwhile, Bisu's got a decent sized army at the expansion to the west of the 3 o'clock position of Hwaisin's base that Bisu had just taken down. Hwaisin intent as well. This is just absolutely going down. It is just going to come down to who has got that one last bullet after expending an entire round of ammunition. Who can get that bullet into the chamber first? And it seems to me like right now Bisu using the probes as a wall in front of the dragoons, sacrificing them, trying to get every last unit kill, and Bisu has just produced everything that you can expect into every last measure of desperation. But unfortunately, I don't think he's got too many measures of hope left, and Hwaisin does roll over Bisu's forces there. But Bisu, meanwhile, has got another army of zealots and dragoons ready to move out into the middle of the map and try and resecure an expansion. The problem is he's not able to resecure an expansion, and he's not able to deal any damage or enough damage to Hwaisin's main force. And I feel Hwaisin was a little bit careless there when he sent those vultures in. When his forces were frozen on the ramp, he should have pulled those vultures back, but I guess he just sent them on auto attack and was focusing his attention elsewhere, and didn't notice that his forces had been frozen and that his forces had been separated, because those vultures really would be handy if he still had them. But he's managed to produce a few more vultures from the minerals that he had. Bisu's got large number of zealots obviously against those siege tanks, but that many siege tanks unsieged is just too much even for that number of zealots that Hwaisin has. Sorry, that Bisu has. Bisu now moving out with the dragoons, Hwaisin catching them with the scan and able to pull his vultures out in time. He needs to reunite his forces, his vultures, with his large siege tank army that he's now bringing around to deliver the hammer blow, deliver the finishing move to Bisu, deliver the final attack. And really, what an epic game of StarCraft we have witnessed here today, guys. What a fantastic game of StarCraft, even though I was interrupted at least 3 times and had to pause the commentary in the middle. I gotta tell you guys, I hate nothing more in this world than being interrupted doing a commentary, and that's why I don't do commentaries when I'm visiting my family, because I'm bound to get interrupted no matter how much I try and find a pocket of isolation for myself. There just seems to be some sort of vast cosmic conspiracy, some sort of FBI government agency that is just determined today to not let me cast this game, but I had to do it, and I did do it. And now we've got Bisu coming in. This is going to be the final battle here, folks. Great Arbiter freeze, EMP going off on most of Bisu, another great freeze. Hwaisin in trouble. Is he going to lose his last force just when it looked like he was on the cusp of victory? Bisu, does he have enough to break through? He's lost most of his zealots. That last mine drag would have killed it. He's only got 3 dragoons left, and that's not going to be able to be enough. Despite some absolute perfect freezes, we saw a perfect storm from Bisu in his matchup against Jaedong. We've seen some perfect freezes here, but they're not going to be enough. Bisu with the Arbiter managed to pick off that science vessel as well. Just looking for every little advantage that he can squeeze out, but unfortunately this is a stone from which there can be no more blood squeezed out for Bisu, and Hwaisin's troops now coming unfrozen, and Bisu, GG's guys. Epic game of StarCraft, massive, and Hwaisin shows us what he can do, why he should never be counted out, why he should never be discounted, why he should never be underestimated. And you know, it's one thing to beat Bisu, but to beat Bisu in an epic matchup like this, that's special. When you play a game for an hour and you lose, it hurts. Trust me guys, it hurts. Great play by Hwaisin. GG. This is Klazart. Thanks for listening.